Welcome to a community update from the Department of Senior Affairs. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Today's topic is answers to your Medicare questions, and with us to discuss that is Adelius Stith, insurance consultant. Adelius, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and be able to answer any questions and also to shed light on this big animal called Medicare.
Boy, it is an animal, man. Because I just read in the paper the other day that the president has proposed more cuts to Medicare, and people that my mother depended a lot on that. She passed away at 91, but lived a long, beautiful life. But when you get older, I think, and I'm 55 now, and I think people think about that. Medicare, Medicaid, and how does it work? Is it going to be there? There's a lot of, and there's the budget the way it is. Each president comes in and has their own cuts, and people worry. They worry and they want to know, what does it mean for me?
Right.
Especially seniors. That's why we brought you on. You did a presentation at Manzano Mesa about 2 weeks ago. So when I saw that, I was like, gosh, we got to get you on the program to talk about that. So, the first question is, how can our seniors get informed about their health care services, which, Adelius, that's, I think, a key question, because they don't want to be on the line and hit 3 and option 5. And what's a good way for them to do that without having to navigate such a maze? I don't know if there's an easy way or not.
Well, even for us younger guys, to have to sit online and deal with all of the punch 1, press 3, this, that, and the other is frustrating. So even when people are in their 60s and 70s and even in their 80s, they really don't have time or the patience to deal with that. The thing that I would really suggest is when people are talking about Medicare, or if they're talking about insurance, period, I would really suggest that it's done face-to-face. It's hard for me to talk about this publication, for example, over the phone. It's tough to do that.
I would imagine.
So when I'm sitting down and I'm explaining this literature and explaining this huge elephant of an animal of Medicare to our seniors, I make sure I really try to press upon them. It'll be best if we sit face-to-face.
Okay, yeah, and again, I think there's a reason why, because over the phone, plan B, plan A, the devil's in the details, they say, and I'm imagining that, over the phone would be, and again, there's the hearing problems, communication problems, phone issues, so it's probably
background noises.
Right, and then
Yes.
and so many things are lost in translation and in communication that you understood, and you think, hey, I made a good presentation, and someone said I didn't understand what you said, and you're probably like, what did I do wrong? So yeah, it's probably best that they do come in face-to-face, and you can explain that away, because over the phone it's just not, even over the computer, because they'll tell you go online.
Right.
And then people get bogged down there too.
The thing that I do is I visit people in the comfort of their homes, Ed. I even bring them Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh man, they got to love you.
So again, folks, I just have someone over, invite someone over. You can get in touch with Mr. Nunez and get in touch with me. I'll be more than glad to visit with you in the comfort of your home and go over this Medicare stuff with you.
That's important, again, because again, it's funny when you mention the Krispy Kremes. We have at Manzano Mesa, we have an event that people come to promote their business, Friendship Coffee.
Right.
Coffee. And I always tell anybody that's coming in, it would behoove you to bring some kind of treat, a sweet treat. I'll tell you what, the seniors,
like our teenagers.
Right, we haven't had it in a couple months, and they'll come and they'll let you know what, I'll walk by, because I walk around the center all day just to make sure things are okay, and they'll stop me. When are we going to have those Friendship Coffees again? So they missed that. So the sweets are an important part. How can our seniors get informed? We mentioned that question, right, about their. No, another question. Why is this insurance so important for our seniors? This is a very important question.
Well, Ed, the frightening statistic about this is the number one reason folks in their 60s are filing for bankruptcy, especially when they're getting older or getting closer to Medicare age, is because of medical expenses. Medical expenses, extended care expenses, people are having to sell their homes, they're having to sell off all their possessions in order to afford these services. It is extremely important that our seniors get this information, because if not, they could be at risk. And then every year, Medicare has an annual enrollment period. We call it the AEP. It's from October 15th until December the 7th. That is a major period for Medicare. The other major period is from January 1st until February the 17th or February 14th. And that is a time that if someone is in a particular portion of Medicare, they can disenroll and return back to original Medicare. And you see, even trying to explain that to someone over the phone, that's tough. Mm-hmm. Because what do you mean? You just said that I can enroll, this is the time to enroll, now you're talking about disenrollment. Well, by sitting down and going through this information with them, they'll understand what AEP is and what ADP is. They'll understand the differences.
You know, when you're saying that over the phone, it's just it's not the same thing. You know, because you start saying ADP and they sound the same. What did you mean? So I think one of the things that you said that really piqued my interest a little bit was the bankruptcy. Man, that's scary. Gosh. And the medical bills these days can cripple somebody financially.
That's right.
Permanently. And when you said that, I hadn't heard that people are filing for bankruptcy because of medical bills.
Everything that they worked for will go to pay for their medical expenses, especially if they're enrolled in Medicare only. If they only have Parts A and B, they are at risk because Medicare does not pay for everything.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah. So they need to be informed.
Exactly.
Gosh.
And that's why I love doing what I do. Most of these folks are just 10 years older than us. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to sit down with them and explain to them, listen, here's where your risk is, and here's the plan. I lay it out for them. Here's the plan that you can choose from in order to make sure you are not at risk. And that's what the Medicare supplements are about. That's what the Medicare Advantage is about. Medicare supplements is not for everyone, and the Medicare Advantage plans are not for everyone. So it all depends on where what their health is, what their prescription drug plans or what their prescription drugs are. That's where it all depends. You and I are very different. We're two different people. We may have two different health risks or health conditions as well. So we'll have different risk. Now, for me to tell you at 65, hey, just take this plan, it may not be the best plan for you.
Right.
With your health situation and with your financial situation. So it's not a cookie cutter here. It really is not. People have to go over the information, be willing to sit down with someone, ask the questions, and be willing to listen to what the professional is saying, because we have to, I know I do, I have to get certified every year for a particular company that I represent. I have to get certified every single year.
So you got to put in the work.
That's right.
So you know these things inside and out. You study. You have to do the exam, the whole thing. So it's good to trust the professionals. And gosh, it's scary because you mentioned you could be going along fine, health-wise, you're good. All of a sudden something happens.
Boom. Yes.
And it could turn the whole financial house, you're underwater, under mortgage, you're bankrupt. Man, that is, and I guess I feel it a little bit more because I'm headed towards, we're all headed towards that.
Yes, we're headed that way.
Right. And then, there's no stopping that, right? I mean, regardless, John McCain said it, every life has to end. He said that a couple of months ago, and that's stuck in my mind because he's not wrong. We'd all like to live to be 150. That's probably not going to happen.
I don't know about 150.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. We all want to stay relevant and stay alive and be healthy. And I think the things you're saying is we better pay attention to these plans, and that's so important. That's why we had you on, or having you on anyway. When are seniors notified that they are eligible for Medicare?
Oh, Ed, that's a great question. When people turn 65, or right before they're 65, they can be 64 and 9 months. There's 3 months before their birth month, and then 3 months after. I call it the golden eligibility period. At this juncture, if someone even had dialysis, they can enroll into a Medicare supplemental plan, and they will be able to get Medicare with no health questions. No health questions at all. And they would have a preferred rating, and their policy could not be denied It is a guaranteed issue. So they're notified. Once they're notified, they have to begin to act immediately, because things can happen that will prevent them from enrolling. And these things, they have time limits on them. It's 3 months before, then the month of their birth, and then 3 months after. So that 7-month period, golden opportunity, golden eligibility for our seniors. And they have to enroll into a prescription drug plan within that period. Or else, if they wait to the annual enrollment period, they could possibly incur lifetime late penalty fees.
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Man, we don't want to. Yeah, we certainly don't want to go there. Got about 3 questions left. I want to make sure we get them all in. What is IEP, and are there benefits for a person during this period?
That is what I was just explaining to you. The IEP stands for Initial Enrollment Period. Initial Enrollment Period. This is when they first turn 65, and they have that golden 7-month period. They can enroll in anything that they want before the end of that 7-month period, but particularly they have to make sure that they are enrolled in a prescription drug plan. Prescription drug plans are very expensive, and it all depends on the medication. I have a client, she has 8 medications that she takes. One of them is $3,100. Just one.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Okay, one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going, Adelius. Wow. Yeah.
Just one.
Man.
So it would behoove them to sit down and let someone explain. There are about 24 different prescription drug plans that a person can enroll in. It would benefit you immensely to sit down with someone and allow them to explain it to you.
2 questions left.
Yes,
Adelius.
sir.
Let's get them in. What are the enrollment? You just mentioned the enrollment periods again for Medicare.
Yes.
That golden window. You mentioned that?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
I don't know if you want to say it even one more time, because you know
it's
what?
3
That's
months
gold,
before,
man. Yeah.
3 months before your birth month, the month of your birth month, and then 3 months after. Golden period. It's a golden eligibility period, and you only have it one time in your life, because you're only going to turn 65 once. And it behooves you to make sure you sit down with someone and go through the information. Let them explain the 4 parts of Medicare to you, and you'll be able to ask questions. Let them explain this to you so that you know beyond the shadow of a doubt about your health services.
One more question, and it's a good one. We're going to wrap this up, and how can and people are going to want to know this, because it's important. Can a person receive assistance to pay for Medicare?
Oh, Ed, another great question.
You came up with them, Adelius, so I got to give you all the credit.
Great question.
Yeah.
If someone has low income, they could possibly qualify for Medicare Extra Help, where their prescription drug plan would be basically paid for by Medicare and the insurance company, and they would just be responsible for maybe $3.70 of their prescription drug cost. There's another substance or a subsidy that a person could enroll in. It's called Low Income Subsidy, LIS, or the Medicare Extra Help. And the way that a person could find out if they apply or they qualify, they have to apply at socialsecurity.gov. They can go in and they can enroll and they can put their information in, and Social Security will let them know if they qualify for the Medicare Extra Help and the low income subsidy as well. The state also gets involved, because if a person is if they're low income and they have this enormous monster of a bill for their prescription drug plans, the thing that's keeping them alive are those prescription drugs.
Right.
So we have to help. I agree totally with this, the state getting involved, and Medicare also having the subsidy available for people. But they have to apply, and they have to make sure that they're sitting down talking to people. They would not get this over the phone.
Right. So we've got about 30 seconds left. Wrap it up for us, Adelius.
All right. Well, folks, let me just say this to you. You're turning 65. If you want to make sure you understand, or I want to make sure you understand your health services, please get in contact with a professional, an insurance professional, or someone that can explain Medicare to you. There are 4 parts. You need to know how they work, You need to make sure that you have the coverage that from things that Medicare does not cover, because there are things that Medicare doesn't cover, and you could potentially be at risk. And I do not want that for you.
Adelia Stith, insurance consultant, answers to your Medicare questions. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. For the Department of Senior Affairs, I'm Ed Nunez.